Hey everyone, welcome to another episode La podcast Koon Rijjeil. So today we have our first female guest, Razan, who is going to talk to us about her experiences with men's mental health across family, relationships, and life. Also to remember that Koon Rijjeil, or men's mental health in general, isn't just for men, it's for everyone. We're inclusive and we want to hear your thoughts. So Razan, how are you today?
I'm good. So honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Likewise. No, it's amazing to have you. So the way I want to start the podcast is I want to ask you the first question I want to ask every guest is, what does Koon Rijjeil mean to you?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think we are in a place إنه لازم نغير معروف كون رجال أو شو يعني تكون رجال, and I've been a very big advocate to that. كون رجال, I think bringing all the secure male traits, let's say, to life. شو يعني? Being a provider بمعنى of safety, being protector in that sense, being the sound of logic, because that's the role a lot of men should play, or the male energy plays. It's being logical, being protector, being provider, being the supporter, and making space. I think what happened is men lost touch with that. And they took all of those to extreme where it became aggressive and didn't make space for their own vulnerabilities or for their own needs, So that's how I think what Koon Rijjeil means.
Honestly, you said something I believe in quite a lot in terms of the role للرجال اللي هو يكون واحد بيساعد و they're logical و they're providers and they're هن السند وكل شيء, which is amazing. بس كمان في another school of thought بتيجي بتقلك إنه بس كمان الرجال, at least my school of thought اللي هي بتيجي بتقول إنه الرجال عنده much more than that, اللي هي
for sure.
إنه هو اللي بحس بيجوا as part of your overall field, or how much you can give to life, but this is only part of it. The most important thing is to actually be true to yourself or to be يعني مش holding كيف كنا نقول دائما toxic masculinity traits اللي هن إنه أنا رجال أنا بعمل اللي بدي إياه, بس إنه لا بالآخر you need to بالعكس be a safe space for a lot of people, which I think هلا we're seeing a lot more and more these days. So the first question for you that I want to open the podcast with, so what's your your earliest experience of men's mental health in term, and it can be in any walk of life, could be family, relationships, work, friends, people on the street, whatever.
I'm laughing because I think men had a massive impact on my life, unfortunately mainly negative. So this is why I'm very passionate about this topic. So let me give you my backstory.
Sure.
I feel like I'm a superhero. I have my own story. So I'm half Saudi, half Lebanese. That's alone is a mix of
it's a cultural pot of
it's cultural shock from both sides, right?
Yeah.
And I grew up with a lot of men. So my parents were divorced, and I grew up with my dad and his family, and that constituted a lot of men. And I have two brothers. So again, I'm always the only woman or something like that. So in a nutshell, they're the reason I went to therapy. I mean, they sent me to therapy,
okay.
so that can give you a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not here to bash my family in that way. The idea is there's a lot of unresolved issues, and men have a tendency not to deal with them. So وأنا كنت صغيرة, فحتى لو يمكن ما كنت بنت, لو كنت صبي وكنت صغيرة, maybe I would have had the same issues, let's say, give or take. But it was harder because those men always wanted to control who I was. And obviously, especially back then, there's a lot of toxic masculinity وكمان في كتير cultural issues patriarchy. So I was living the toxic patriarchy بقوة. And living in Saudi as well was another layer of it, because it was a tough time. There was a lot of ممنوع بكل أشكاله. When you have men who have unresolved issues and the law is with them to be like that, you are abused. You're an abuse of power. I'm sorry, I need to change that. You are in a position to abuse that power. And I think that's how it was for me. And it turned me masculine. It turned me into survival mode. And now actually I'm on a journey of trying to go into my feminine self. وصلت لمرحلة إنه I wouldn't connect with women, especially the feminine females. I found them very uncomfortable. I found myself an outsider. I found it a weakness. And I didn't know until recently, man, I'm a massive feminist, and didn't know until recently that actually because of them, I saw how women being a female or having female energy is very weak, and I should be like them. But that wasn't the right thing. And I was in a complete imbalance of who I am and who I should be. It was hard. It's been hard.
Oh, it sounds like it was quite a journey, honestly, that you're on, because I think on one hand, I think, دايما في ideals, or when you grow up بيقولوا لك إنه البنت هيك والرجال هيك. But when you live that life where it's like, yeah, but I'm not what I was told or at least what I was taught I was meant to be. So I think it's interesting how you've battled maybe, or you've gone out of these situations. I mean, I've known you for quite some time. I see a lot of, sides from both angles. It's good to come in. You can say, you've realized what the past was like, and obviously what you want and what you don't want in life. It's great, honestly, to see that you've walked past it. But there's one thing that I wanted to ask you, which is, you were saying that, you were not really in touch with the feminine side to yourself in large parts of your life. And what side do you or from a practical sense, what side do you think that was? Was it more حسيتي حالك, for example, you weren't maybe as كيف يقولوا caring, or you weren't maybe giving as much, or
yes.
or
Yes.
or what did
All
that
of
look
it.
like? Okay.
I think so. I have anger issues, and it's very acceptable. And my entire family has anger issues, so it was very acceptable for a man to be that. So now I reached a place where my anger issues are not serving me anymore. I reached a place where my marriage was having a problem because I was too aggressive, too leading. بعدين طب أنت why aren't you leading with me? If I was putting people down, I reached a place so I became toxic. عرفت شو قصدي? But let me ask you a question. How's your balance between being female and male? Because I don't believe like we should have both energies,
Of course,
in general.
definitely.
Have you had any influence from your family on which one takes side, let's say?
Not so much, honestly, because I think I've grown up with two sisters, and so
we're the opposite.
So we're the complete opposite. So to me, I always had maybe more feminine energy than masculine in my life. My dad is your ما حقول typical Arab dad. To me he's a special Arab dad. But so I always learned from my sisters and my mom especially, what it's like to be different than the typical Arab male. And كتير كنت تشوفهم growing up in school and TV shows, and you're like, I don't want to live.
Did you find yourself not identifying with them?
A lot of times I felt left out, or I didn't relate. And كتير people who would be like rebellious and like overly like, hey, I do this, أنا بس no, life shouldn't be that way. بالعكس, life should be the complete opposite. You should be nice to people. You should give people love. You should give them their time, their energy. You should be accepting. You should be heck, هلا أكيد, of course, there's something you were saying earlier, which is there should also be a balance, which is, yes, I'm accepting, I'm a safe space, and this and this and this, but at the same time I also have my other things that, what, I will also be a protector. I will be the provider. I will be. So I think, no, in my experience, I didn't get influenced per se. I think أنا مني لحالي, I chose what I want to be and how I want that to look like. And actually more so now than ever, I think.
Do you think your household was balanced between at least your not the sisters part, the mom
parents,
and dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot.
It helps. I mean, my dad يعني إجمالا he's again منه again your typical Arab dad.
What does that mean?
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but you have some parents who have مثل a hierarchy with them, and they're set as dads, as a أنا بياك, you look up to me. No, my dad was the complete. Me and him were good friends. We get along.
Usually it's fear-based. It's a fear-based relationship.
Exactly. We مش نتمسخر على بعض, بس it's a joking relationship.
It's joking with respect, and you can still make fun to an extent.
بس كمان في حد, عرفتي إنه في. This is the thing, is that my parents always said this to me, which was اعتبرنا نحن أصحابك.
Okay.
And again, I've never figured it out or imagined what that would mean until, again, very recently. لأنه هلا I'm trying to work on my relationship with my family. It's not that it's bad, it's just feels that I want to improve, عرفتي. فايه يعني in terms of family وهيك no my mom has always been great and she's always shown kamina both sides. You know, the male and the feminine. Okay, more feminine than male, but that's that's normal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
لا نحن كان عنا حالة إرهاب يعني إنه easily it was fear based من كل الجهات وأنا كنت أصغر وحدة فكتير I was a punching bag كتير there was a control of what I'm wearing, what I'm saying, what I'm doing. And كتير في كذب from my side. I had to protect myself a lot from everyone, everything. And obviously, you know, the most conservative families you have, the kid will end up always being a rebel. They'll always end up doing all the things they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
You know, I put myself in bad situations because I couldn't be protected by my family. And I have a very big issue about it. Oh, it shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah. And again, I think that it impacts a lot of ways in which you, again, I think, would live your life later on because
definitely.
I think if you hadn't come to the realization of, you know what, Anna, I don't want to live that life. I want to go into something completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, طولت كتير. I'm not young anymore.
No, but
to live with that struggle internally for so long, it created a very hostile environment in my head, you know.
Yeah. Which is never easy, I think, to live with. Then I think as a female, you can say, يعني دايما, again, there's always this ideal of, you know, you should live this way and whatever. But when you live the complete opposite, it's like, no, I didn't sign up for this. Like when I came to the world, I didn't sign this waiver. I don't want to.
That's not my way.
That's not. Yeah. So no, and again, I think it's great, مثل ما قلت, you know, that you've grown out of that shell. وبالعكس, you found your way and you're a lot more aware, I think, than what you were. I know, you know, a lot of times people get stuck in a situation and they're like, you know what, this is all I know.
No,
I don't want to do anything about it. But I think you're the complete opposite of that.
Because I'm living with that. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm so glad I reached a place where I am right now. Alhamdulillah, I created a good life for myself. I'm in a good position. اللي بدك إياه بس on what expense, you know? And the driver was, I did not want to end up like my other female family members. Because I saw them struggle. I saw them, sorry, I couldn't even dance على وجههم. So I made sure everything I did was for me to be financially capable, for me to be independent, for me to be successful as fast as possible. But لا وصلت. I had someone tell me that you made it, خلاص. But you know, to get out of survival mode, because your body scientifically gets used to that cortisol and adrenaline, and you live on that crashes. So when things are okay, you look for trouble.
Yeah.
That's not the way I want to live.
Definitely not the way you want to live your life. That's crazy because I think, again, like a lot of times we try to live in survival mode, which is, you know what, man, Anna, my goal in life is just make my money, live a good life, get married, have kids, whatever. And that's all I want to do. And I think it's interesting that you've set that goal as, you know what, I want to be self-dependent because I think, and maybe just from what I'm hearing, it sounds a bit like growing up, you didn't feel like you could rely on other people. You could only rely on yourself. It was me against the world.
It was, and that seeped into my relationship with my husband. It was me against the world, and he's part of the world. And if it was me safeguarding myself. Lano, definitely I needed to escape them.
Yeah.
You know, they could rely on me. Financially, emotionally, I couldn't rely on them. They put me in trouble. You know, it felt made me feel طب شو صار شو عملت أنا, you know.
100%.
And this is one of the reasons why I had to outgrow it because now people who love me are suffering because of it, you know.
And do you think, you know, in terms of when you got to your marriage, so do you think it was at a time where you felt Mrs. Energy is familiar, but in terms of, you know, your husband, I don't know, maybe he would give off those regular male traits. So you felt like, okay, maybe this feels a bit similar to what I've lived in the past and you wanted to fight it? Or did you, or I don't know what situations were, but, or did you feel like, you know what, or this is just how I operate within the setting of being with a male in my life?
So what happened is I got into a pattern of dating people who I'll always be smarter, stronger, better, that it created a balance of they need me more than I need them. horrible. Horrible.
Huge
Horrible.
imbalance. Yeah.
I had to create an imbalance, and I had to make sure I bring in the value. I am, I do everything, but then I reached a place where like, okay, what are you adding? So that turned into a very big issue.
Yeah.
So at one point, I ended up attracting people who are just so nice, and they're in their feminine energy. At the beginning, it's cute, it's nice, it's lovely. Then you're like,
But
okay,
not
no,
forever.
that's not enough. So that's what happened between me and Ahmad. He's a great, great, great man. But we reached a place where we were going two different directions. He didn't know what he was doing wrong. And for me, this is not enough anymore. So we went through a really, really rough patch. Now we're better, but we had to change the balance.
Of course.
So I had to take a step back, but also I was scared of that because can I give up the power? Can I? Because you're so used to it, your safety.
Exactly.
And how do I look like when I don't bring things to the table? When my presence is enough, but also I have to work a lot on my self-value, my self-worth. والأسس لا أكون أنا كمان مقتنعة فيه. So how would I accept someone telling me what to do? I would kill them. So
Guys, I really think she was joking. Don't.
Maybe. But but the idea, the idea is, I had to also relook at myself and evaluate and look at my value. I needed to make space for him to step up, and I needed to step down. Because for the longest time, I only knew how to step up. So بالعكس, he gave me a different dynamic. ما عرفت أعمل فيه. And it turned into a toxic, aggressive place that I was instigating a lot of it. Like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing... Who is trying, but then he doesn't. Then he was like, why do I keep trying? When you're going to keep putting me down. So it was a really bad place for both of us to be in. It was not safe for us. But he also had to work on it.
Of course.
He had to get out of his feminine because he was in an imbalance too. So you end up, opposite attracts is real in that sense,
Yeah.
Because the reality of things, you're going to attract people who are going to give you the biggest lessons. Either you grow or you got stuck in your dawami. And without me going through this rough patch with Ahmed, I don't think I would have ever loved myself enough to learn my worth and my value. And it was so externalized and was so dependent on other people and other people's opinion that I wasn't enough for myself. اشتغلنا كتير كل واحد لحاله ورجعنا نشوف بعض again انه okay, does this work? Let's try. It's a trial and error. It was hard in the beginning to let go.
Of course.
Super
tough, exactly. Because again, I think once you get to a place in which two people they truly love each other, but feel this imbalance is just not.
Yeah. Love is not enough.
No.
Actually,
I heard this, man. I heard this literally in my holiday like 2 weeks ago. Someone was saying love is not enough.
Love is not enough.
You need much more than love, and you don't. Yeah.
يعني كثير كذب علينا بالأفلام.
Oh yeah, definitely Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
No, I think there was
also
something.
15.
Also true.
That should not be.
Okay, or you know what? Or any Jennifer Aniston film,
exactly.
or Will
any
Smith
rom-com,
film.
right?
Any rom-com.
What about you? Do you see a pattern in what you attract, whether it's people or relationships? Because I also attracted people who were dependent on me.
Yeah.
That are no longer serving me.
This I've had in my life where it felt like I need to carry a lot more than what I can. And push much more than I can. And a lot of times I did. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man.
Where did it come from that you felt that you needed to carry that much or carry more? Like what's in you made you believe that you should do that?
Look, Anna, in general, like anyone who, my family will, confirm this maybe more than other people. They always say, Anna, you're always so giving, you're always so kind. And I always like to make people feel like, I am a safe space and I am here for you. But a lot of times, or not a lot, sometimes, or most times, it feels like I'm here for you, but it's getting too much. Like I need either some space or it's time for you to also work on yourself because I need to work on myself too. And a lot of people that I've dated in my life, and mind you, they're beyond fantastic people, but it's just some things, either it's past traumas or it's past experiences where they don't want to deal with them, which I understand because it's a very tough step.
It is.
But then again, to answer your question, Anna, to me, I think a lot of times I've attracted both in terms of people who I maybe at the time thought that they depend on me. And a lot of other times it feels like, it's a fucking good balance. Like it's a really good balance where, you've got your own life going on. You know yourself inside out. I know myself, maybe not so inside out, but I'm getting to know myself more.
Yeah.
Where it feels like, you know what, we can bounce things off of each other. It doesn't feel like I need Karim or I need Flan. You know, so I've had a mix of this and that. But other moments where it feels like two extreme opposites, where it's, yani, and I know myself so well as the other partner, but I don't want to exchange. And it's like, I know so much about me, but I want to exchange, but you don't want to. So it's like, okay, shit, what do I do here? And I've had a lot of those experiences.
What do you do?
Leave. Simple. ومش again, مش من شان شي, but at the end of the day, I want someone who would want to be comfortable with me in these situations. And two, you know, just keep it a safe space for both of us. At the end of the day, it's our relationship. It's not anyone else. So this is our little room that we live in now.
No.
In a way.
No.
You know, but there's something that I wanted to ask you and I don't want it to leave my mind, so I need to ask it now. And I'm sorry if it interrupts your trail of thought. Hala, so if you were to pick between the red pill and the blue pill, but let's say the blue pill is the male energy and the female is the red, which one did you take?
Why do we have to choose? Okay. So I'm done with masculine energy.
So
I'm done. I think I've given it enough years of my life. So honestly, even when I learned that I have to understand female energy and get into it, I had no idea how that looked like. So now I'm ready. Now I'm getting there. Like I was just having this conversation yesterday with Ahmed, my husband. He was like, "You have become more feminine." I was like, "What does that look like for you? Like when you tell me that?" Because I still speak the same, look the same. He was like, "You're making space for others to take decisions. You're letting someone else, do their thing."
Exactly.
So I'm willing to do more of that now. So I will take the feminine pill for now. But can I get a refund eventually if I don't like it?
I mean, I need to see with the team behind me, but we'll see. I mean, no, it's interesting because I think at some point you have an abundance of, you've lived it a large part of your life. So to you, it's more of, okay, you know what, I've been there, I've done that, I don't need that anymore.
I know what it looks like, I know what it feels like.
And
I outgrew it.
Yeah.
And if it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you know what, I want something new, which is normal.
And I think it's, I had it in my other podcast. I have a podcast, guys.
Called Bidun Sukkar. Watch it. It's really good. Just saying.
So we were having this exact same conversation last time. And my guest, who's also my friend, asked me, do you think there's a part of you that's untapped or unexpressed? And I think so. I didn't know it didn't exist. I didn't know it even existed. So I'm excited and intrigued to know what is there and what does that look like and how where will it take me?
Of course.
So which one would you choose? Which pill would you take?
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me this. I was like, I really hope she doesn't ask me. Look, society will tell you pick the blue one.
Okay, what would Koon Rijjeil tell you?
Koon Rijjeil. Koon Rijjeil will tell you take the red one. Because taking the red one means that you're more vulnerable, you're more open, you're... Again, I'm بحكي purely from the norms of the blue and the red. Today, the norm would be for to take the red, I think.
No.
Because I like that side of myself a lot more. مش قصة I don't like to be in charge. No, I do, but at the end of the day, that doesn't help someone else. Like, I'm not letting them live their life. I'm not letting them experience what they need to experience. And there's something that I try to do every day. Like, I always give my opinions. I'm very vocal about them, but at the end of the day,
we know.
if you want to take it on, great. If not, that's your decision. I'm not an expert. That's just how I think.
I just feel the society made so much space for men and male traits, even to the extreme versions, that they didn't make space for female or feminine full expression unless if it didn't look like a certain way, there's no space for it. I feel men were allowed to go all out in different ways to the extremes, and obviously got into legal issues and what a horrible state of the world. Women were never allowed to do that, and still not allowed to do it. Like, I don't know where I read this. I think it was a quote by some celebrity. She was saying, what was it? It's along the lines, and a woman, they love seeing women trying to find herself, but they don't want to see the woman who found herself. It's the finding that they're okay with.
Yeah.
عارف شو؟
It's all about the journey. It's never about the destination.
Yeah, but when we reach the destination, we're not allowed to.
Exactly.
When they see a woman who is
It's like
comfortable with herself, who is confident, telling you, you know what, I don't want this, and لا اسكتي وعدي على جنب.
it's like all these ads you'd see. Maybe I think maybe more so in the States, like all about the female empowerment and the body and all this. Like you bring it here, it's like, oh no, like that doesn't work here. Like, so which is super interesting, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it's sad, and I'm very conscious about it, you know, and it's hard to navigate, and like for someone who's very typically masculine, like I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out when what works. When do I bring out when?
Yeah.
When do I bring out what?
And what? Yeah. So another question that came to mind, because I'm, you know, trying to think about the idea of masculinity, and especially, you know, given your experiences with that. So let's say one day, you know, you get a son, you call him Karim. Just no.
I have too many Karims in my life.
You don't need to call him Karim. You know, you can think of a name.
Thanks.
Then tell me.
I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me.
Well, see, now giving you the space, manifesting my other energies, and so, anyways, so you got a son, everything, all cool. How would you want him to be raised? In terms of, would you want him to have the مش stereotypical boy traits, بس قصدي يعني to have a good balance, or would you want him to have maybe something a bit more than something else?
No, but I think everyone should be balanced. It's not what gender you are.
No.
I think you should be balanced in general. حتى when you were saying earlier in the episode, you were saying true to yourself. That's everyone. Yeah. Everyone should be that, regardless of what traits are you exhibiting, what you want to be, what you don't want to be. You should be.
Be yourself.
So be yourself and balanced. لأنه كتير صعب. It's very, very hard. And I think there is like a big imbalance going around in the world between men and women. Everything. There's a massive imbalance. So there's a lot of healing work that has to happen.
Definitely.
You know,
across the board.
Some more than others. Yes.
We won't. We're not going to point fingers.
No.
No. I think it's interesting that you say that, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, I meet up with friends and other people, and they all say, like, you know what, بدي, like, you know, أكيد to have a balance, بس بدي يكون more masculine than feminine. لأنه
للصبي ولا للبارتنر؟
لا للصبي. Or actually even partner. بس إنه بدي الولد يكون more masculine لأنه 1 2 3 4 ما بدي يكون خساع، ما بدي يكون هيك. I'm like, yeah, but it's I mean, to start with, it's a kid, right? So you can't just
كتير قصص فيه.
like you've already like ingrained so much, like, I hate using this word, crap inside of him.
Yeah.
And not even setting, you know, a safe space for him to be a little bit different than others, you know? And I think that's what the world's missing.
شوف نحن مشكلتنا one of our problems
one of our many
as a Middle Eastern place نحن we are a collective society.
صح.
And collective means no, you value the group over the individual. ما في individualism كتير. I hope it changes. But the issue is standing out is an anti-survival thing. ففي كتير عنا خوف من الغير. كتير. And this is part, I think, why you and I may be bonded. And even your podcast and my podcast is all about allowing for the other to be available. نحن ما بنسمح. نحن إما هيك أو هيك.
صح. Black or white. Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to change.
Especially people with ADHD.
Yeah. We're a special breed.
We're a very special breed indeed. No, it's interesting because, again, we're always... يعني أنا كتير I compare كتير to a lot of people, a lot of things. I'm like, بس أنا ما في أنا لازم أكون أحسن. بس لازم إنه إذا هيدا عمل هيك means أنا لازم أعمل هيك. Even if I'm comparing with myself, someone who's like 45.
Yeah.
وأنا بعدني 25.
That's a hard thing to do.
But I'm like, you know what? He's done that when he was 20. So why can't I do that? You know?
First of all, do you have any Aries placement in you? Because you have this weird...
I don't. I'm just a Gemini. Pure Gemini.
We'll figure it out.
Pure breed.
Because I have a lot of friends, especially men, that have what I call an invisible race. You know, they think they have to meet this milestone at this stage, and if they don't, it's self-sabotage. It's so hard. Like, why? You know, it takes a lot of unlearning to take that. But no, everyone is on their own race. Do not compare. And what they had and you have are two different things. Of
course.
And we don't see that. Could you stop? That's my advice to you. Stop.
I'll really try.
Okay.
So
no, haram for you. Yani it makes it a hard thing to live with.
Yeah, and I talk about this in therapy a lot, like with my therapist, who till today I can never stop thanking for this, because I always talk about comparing and looking up to others, but no, if I don't, for example, if I don't have, I don't know, $1 million by end of 2025, it's
yeah.
like I'm a complete failure. Or my parents are gonna like bash me,
my
but
God.
that's not the case. It's just,
No,
and I
yeah.
have my own goals because I want to achieve things at
You
such a
should
young
have
age. You should
goals.
have goals, but
But
be a bit more grounded.
Yeah.
You know, don't be. You know, even if it doesn't happen, it's fine. The world won't end if you don't do it.
and also goals change. Don't be that rigid.
100%.
And I think maybe it helps to celebrate the little wins. I don't think you
Dayman.
do. You give yourself enough credit for these things?
I started.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
That helps.
Be-
And also, what helped, I do life audits,
Mm,
and that helps you keep you because it's a bit of sense of control,
yeah.
and also reevaluate what you want and give yourself a timeline.
Yeah.
That's a maybe a healthier approach than killing or bashing yourself for
Definitely.
not having $1
Definitely.
million.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends' goal was by 30. I'm 33. Him and I will live in a castle,
Wow.
and he's going to be a very rich person, and he's going to give me a lot of.
Has it happened? It hasn't happened yet, has it?
No.
Because you used to live in Dubai.
No.
So.
And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, when we turned 30, he was like, I don't have the castle. I'm like, no, really?
Well, no shit.
Oh, shit. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I love having a plan because it gives me a sense of control that I need,
Yeah.
and that's my protectiveness. But for me, as long as I have a plan, it could change 100 times.
Yeah.
As long as there's a plan.
Yeah. So,
Tell me.
to end the episode,
Yes.
because we're just mindful of time. So the way I want to end every episode is I want you to write down a quote that you want every Arab man to read, to think about, to feel like, you know what, I need this in my life, because especially coming from you as somebody who's lived
Yeah.
the masculine energy, but you're in a feminine body, it's a bit weird, and you've seen it all. It's about dick. So obviously this is your canvas.
Oh my God, so much pressure.
Do what you want with it.
What are you going to do with it?
You'll find out soon enough.
Who's going to read it? Wait, depends who's going to read it. All the men in the world?
We'll find out soon enough. No pressure.
Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
I'm done.
Are you done?
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect.
I'm a very fast person.
Wow.
Done.
Done.
What? Less is more?
Less is more.
Yeah.
It's
Less is
quality over quantity.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. No, Bilakis, thank you for being our first female guest. Obviously one of many, more to come, but it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you again and have you on the podcast. To I hope a lot of women can see your story and learn a little bit from that. And a lot of men also learn that women also experience men's mental health and they experience male energy too.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you soon.